Hello everyone, and welcome to day 4 of our October Christmas craft along. I mentioned the other day that I was going to be pulling out all the stops and going Christmas. So here is my new Christmas outfit for today. I got my earrings on from yesterday, my little Christmas scarf. I'm all set to go. Today we're going to be making 2 projects that I actually designed. And I do need to let you know, the tutorial that was sent had incorrect measurements in it. So I will be resending that tutorial to you. So when you look at the hot cocoa holder, those measurements were wrong. So I'm going to go through them tonight, and hopefully it'll make a lot more sense. It's a really easy project. I don't know what happened to the measurements. They just got messed up. It copied over from another file. So I'm going to be showing you those tonight. And look forward to tomorrow, because tomorrow we'll have another 2 projects. Those projects are designed by Deb Smeek. So we've got Sherry Zicki, who is the owner of Love by Him Designs, and Deb Smeek, who is Delight of My Art. You can find the 2 of them on YouTube as well. And they'll be doing the same projects, and they have their own little twist on the projects. So it's been fun collaborating with them. And I hope that you were enjoying the project so far. So I'm going to flip down my camera so we can get started. Now, this is a actual video. I had to record it ahead of time. I actually have appointments today, and I was going to get back too late to do the video live. So I'm pre-recording, and hopefully things will go smoothly. And yeah, let's have some fun. All right, I'm going to flip down my camera. I'll be right back in just a moment. All right, so let's get out our handy dandy instructions here. I got to take off this hat because it's reflecting everywhere in this room, and I'm seeing flashes of light, and that's not going to be good trying to do a video with flashes of light. All right, so we're on our day 4, which is going to be our Christmas tree shaker card and stay warm hot cocoa holder. So this is going to be our little project. It's kind of a, I don't know, step card, I guess. So we're going to be doing that one. I'm changing it up a little bit from the directions. This was the original card in the tutorial. I didn't have an inside done, okay? But I'm going to step it up. We're going to put something on the inside and also on the back. So I'll be sharing that one with you. And then the second one that we'll be doing is going to be our little gift card holder. This is the one where I had the incorrect measurements. So I am correcting that, and I will give those correct measurements to you today so you have them. All right. Let's start with our shaker card, and let me get all the pieces that I need for that. And I'm pulling in my instructions so I can do them step by step right along with you. The other things that you are going to need is you're going to need your little shaker trees that were in your little bundle here. So get out your bundle, because you're going to need your candy cane, your shaker tree, and also your loose shaker stars. We'll be needing those. You'll be needing your red and white baker's twine and your sequins that you have. And we can put that aside. Also, from your own kitchen pantry, grab a thing of hot chocolate. So I unfortunately couldn't mail these to you, because when I went to go grab them, they were really close to being expired, and I didn't want to send you expired stuff. Yuck, right? Okay. So let's get our stuff going here. I've already pre-cut my stuff, but I'm going to go over these measurements with you as well. I'm going to shove some of this stuff off to the side because I don't need it right now. We will need a few things from your die cut baggie as well. So the things that you need to pull out from there are going to be this little ribbon banner, and you will need a little some sort of die cut from the designer paper with all the little punch card dies. Mine kind of all fell apart, so just grab one. We're going to put one on the inside too. So I'm just going to grab this ornament because it's just loose right there. And then we also need this little rectangle. All right, so those are the 2 dies that you'll need. Pick any of the little die cut pieces you want. It doesn't matter. We'll move those off to the side. We will need a piece of garden green designer cardstock, and this measures 5.5 by 8. Oh, I need to trim off a little piece because that needs to be 8 inches, not 8.5. So I did trim it down to 5.5. Now I'm just going to make sure it's 8 inches. So I just need a 1/2 inch off. So I'm just going to cut that right here. That's 1/4, 1/8, 1/2. All right, there we go. All right. The next piece that we need is a piece that is 6 by 3. And then we need a piece that is 3 by 4. For our designer series paper, I actually used this one here. And I cut 2 pieces that were 5 1/4 by 2 3/4. And then I just grabbed a scrap from one of the other things that I'd already cut up. It's just a, sorry, I was just looking at something here. This is a 3/4 inch, I'm sorry, it's a 1 inch strip. I need to cut that down to be 5 1/4 by 3/4. I got distracted by something on my paper here. Sorry. It's kind of been a train wreck night for me. I don't know what it is. I'm just going to trim this down to where I want to have the pretty side. All right. So there we go. So that's 5 1/4 by 3/4 inch. And then I need a second pattern paper, and I want to grab the piece that is green. I'm trying to find a green piece here. That's not green. Okay, here we go. All right, I'm going to grab this piece right here, and I need this piece to be 2 3/4 by 4 inches. So let's see, is this 4 inches? 4 inches, yep. So I just need a piece that's 2 3/4. And I kind of like, just take the side that, you know, the pattern that you like best. I kind of like this pattern right here. All right. So again, we've got a piece that's 2 3/4 by 4, 2 pieces that are 5 1/4 by 2 3/4, and then a strip of 5 1/4 by 3/4. So those are all the pieces that you will need. You will also need a piece of basic white. So just grab that from one of the scrap pieces that you have. And I'm just digging through my bag here to get a piece. So hopefully you've been putting all your extra pieces in your little baggie here, or in your little kit that you got. So this piece of white needs to measure 2 3/4 by 4 as well. So I've got 2 3/4. I'm just going to trim this down really quick. It was a scrap I used from something else. Oh, those are for the, oh, I'm sorry. These are for your dies. I already cut your dies for you. You don't have to do that. Just saying. I am going to take a piece, though, that I'm going to measure at 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. Reason I'm doing that is I want to add an inside to my card. So it's not one that I included on the measurements. It was something I kind of did after the fact. I'm like, ooh, I kind of like doing this. So we're going to step it up a little bit. So like I said, you will need another piece that's 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. Alrighty. Now we're going to rock and roll here. We're going to get going. And I'm going to try and go exactly by the directions there. I sometimes skip around, so trying to make sure I'm actually doing it by the directions. We're going to start with our piece of 5 1/2 by 8. I just need to turn off my monitor there. Okay. My 5 1/2 by 8 inch piece of cardstock here, and we are going to score along the 8 inch side at 1 inch, 2 inch, and 5 inch. 1 inch, 2 inch, 5 inch. All right. We're going to take our piece that was 6 by 3, and we're going to score that at 4 1/4. And that is all the scoring that we need to do on this. So we're going to go ahead and burnish it over I'm going to take this one, put this way, this one's going to go up this way, and this one's going to go down this way. All right. All right, can kind of see our card forming here. Let's go ahead and add our Designer Series paper to everything. So I'm just going to flatten that out for a moment. So I've got my strip here, and I used a different pattern. You can use any pattern that you want. You've got enough in your kit that you have some extra. So I'm just putting this right in here, just like so. I don't know why that's off. That doesn't look like it's 5 1/2. Hold on. No, it is. All right. I must have just cut that funny. Oh, well. I'm gonna peel this off here. I'm gonna get that layered more in the center. All right, here we go. Well, I don't know what I did. All right, then I'm going to take my next piece of Designer Series paper and I'm going to put it on panel 3. So it's panel 1, 2, 3. This is where we're going with this one. And before we put our back piece on, we do need to take that piece. We're going to form that pop-up piece. All right, so I have this and this. Now, for this piece, let's go ahead and take our Designer Series paper that was 2 3/4 by 4, and we're going to layer that right on the front of here. So we'll get this step done. We won't have to do it later. This is where our shaker is going to be. All right. So now we have that. We need to put adhesive right here at the bottom here, and we're going to layer that right to the bottom edge, over to the left, just like so. All right, now we're going to flip this and we're going to put adhesive on this side. We're going to fold back up our card, turn it over, and give that a nice little press. All right. Now we can add our last piece of Designer Series paper. All right. Ta-da! All right. So now we're going to do our stamping, and then we'll make our shaker. All right, so we've got our 2 pieces here, our banner and our oval. I'm going to pull in real red, and we're going to stamp Sending Christmas Wishes, which I must have cleaned and put back already. Let's grab out our pine tree trimming set or whatever sentiment set you're using. And here's my Sending Wishes here. Put that on a block. And I'm just going to go off to the left just a little bit. Reason I'm doing that is when I go to add my little punched out shape here, I don't cover my sentiment. All right, now I need one more sentiment, and I'm going to pull in my traditional labels because I have my season's greeting here, which will fit just perfect on here. If you have a straight sentiment, you can kind of, and it's photopolymer, you can kind of bend it and twist it so you can stamp on that. Okay, so sorry there's a kind of a little glitch in the video there. Some reason my camera stopped recording while I was talking, and I actually went on and completed the card before I knew the video was done. All right, so I did stamp this one. I stamped it in red. I put my little die cut piece on. I'm going to take my season's greeting here, stamp that in red right here, just like so. And now we'll start getting our shaker done. So actually, I'm not going to put these 2 on yet. I'm not sure if the previous part of the video had showed that I put my little step on here. I took that designer series paper, but that measured 2 3/4 by 4 and adhered it to this front panel. So what I need to do now is I just need to move this off to the side. We're going to make our shaker box for the 4th time I think I've been doing this. Okay, so I've got a piece of paper here that measures 3 by 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to die cut my tree from here. And actually that's not 3 by 4. That's not looking right. So let me get a piece that is 3 inches by 4 inches. That's a little narrow. And I want to have it wide enough so I can actually do what I need to do here. All right, so we're going to get to 3 by 4. All right. There we go. So make sure your piece is 3 by 4. And we want to take our tree, which is right here, and we're going to run that to the die cut machine really quick. Because I do want to show you how to get the shaker done. And I'm really hoping that my video doesn't stop again. So I'm going to be talking kind of fast because I think it's because my phone may be out of space. So we'll get this done real quick. All right. Now there's 2 ways that you can do this next step. It's totally up to you on what you're comfortable with. We're going to save this piece for later. These are all going to go on there. You know what? I think we can just do those all at one time. Let's just get it done. The front one we can't add yet, but this one we can. So we're going to take our liquid glue and we're just going to adhere our tree on the back. So I'm just adding a little bit of glue there. And I want to make sure it doesn't go up over the top or past the bottom. So I'm just going to put it right on there. And then I'm going to take my Season's Greetings here. And we're just going to put some liquid glue on that. And we'll put that right here. Okay, so the back of our card is done. All right, let's just move that over there and let's get working on our tree. So like I said, there's 2 ways that you can do this. You can either lay, I'm going to flip this over. You can either lay your tree on top of where you die cut and trace around with your pencil. So we can do this. And then you're going to cut that out, or you can just eyeball it. So I'll go ahead and trace it here. And what I'm going to do when I cut it though, I'm going to cut it just a little bit bigger than where my pencil line is. So I'm going to bring in my scissors and I'm just going to cut on the outside. Sorry, there's something on there. Ooh. I'm going to cut on the, if I can pick that up, on the outside of that pencil line. Because I want it to be a little wider. I want to make sure that on that tree shaker, there's adhesive on this white where you can see the white. So I want to make sure that's hidden. So that's why we're doing this piece. Kind of just gives it a more finished look and you don't have to see that white then. So now I'm trying to hurry to make sure my video doesn't stop. I don't know. That was really weird. All of a sudden, I'm like, okay, and we're done. So we're going to move on to the next project. And I look and I'm like, oh my gosh, my video stopped like 15 minutes ago. It's been fun today, let me tell you. All right. So just take your time with cutting it. You know, don't rush. It's worth taking your time. All right, there we go. Okay, so now we've got our tree there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go and get my take a pick tool. I'm going to pick up the top adhesive, like just like that. All right. Then I'm going to place my tree, make sure my pencil side is on the back, right over the shaker box. All right, I'm going to push that down to make sure that gets a good seal. And now you can see that I don't have any of that tree sticking out on the outside. Now, the next thing to do is I need to grab just a flat block just to hold that in place. I'm going to take some of my shaker stars as soon as I can find where I put them, because I put everything away before I even realized that this stopped recording. So now I've got to find my trees. So give me a second to find my trees. I mean my stars. Here they are, right here in front of me. All right, I'm going to take just under a half teaspoon here. All right. Okay. All right, and I'm going to sprinkle this, not really sprinkle, I'm going to pour it in the front here. I don't want to go up too high. I don't want to have too much on there. All right, I'm going to get it kind of in the middle. And now I'm going to take my shaker tree and I'm going to peel off this other layer of adhesive, hoping you can see what I'm doing here. So I'm just trying to get that layer pulled up. I'm being careful not to pull apart everything else. I just want to get that paper up. It's usually pretty easy. All right. So you can see I've got that tape there. All right, so now I'm going to move my block very gently off to the side. I need to squish in my shakers, and I'm just going to lay the tree right over that, just like so. I'm going to press it down. Okay, the video's still going. Woohoo! All right, so now we've got our shaker. We're going to go ahead and take our little greeting here, and I'm just going to, I put some adhesive already on that. Put it down right here, just like so. All right, now, I don't remember if I did this in the other part of the video or not, so we're just going to do it again, so it may be a repeat. So this is my 2 3/4 by 5 1/4 piece of basic white, and I'm going to have this on the inside of my card, just like so. And then I'm going to grab, since I've done this so many times, it's like Groundhog Day in here. I'm going to grab another little die. I'm just going to grab this one. I'm going to put these little bells on the inside, so let's grab our liquid glue. All right. If we can make it through this card, we got the next one. Whew. It's been a day, I tell you. I hope that your day is going much better than mine. All right, so we got our little bells to put in here, and you can put it wherever you'd like. I'm just going to put it right there. Now, I do want to be careful, so if I have a little bit of glue, like I have a little glue swoosh out there, I don't want to shut my card, because if I do, it's going to shut sealed. So, we've got that done. Let's grab some baker's twine. This is where it shut off on me last time, I think. And I was saying, let's grab the baker's twine, or at least that's where I noticed it shut off. All right. So we're going to grab our, we'll just leave that kind of flip open. I'm going to grab my baker's twine, and I'm going to make a double bow here. All right, so I doubled up my thread, just like so. I'm going to make a bow. 2. Well, maybe I'm going to make a bow. Okay, I guess not like that. We'll try it again. I have a little bit of glue on my fingers, so it's sticking to the thread. All right. We'll just get our bow a little bit smaller here. I don't need it that ginormous. All right. Take our snips. Trim that off. I like to take glue dots to adhere my bows to my project. So we'll go ahead and get one. I'm just going to roll that into a little log. I'm going to put it right on the card where I want my bow to go. So I'll put it right there. Drop my bow right on there. We're going to grab our little embellishments here. We're going to sprinkle some on. I'm going to go ahead and use some red ones. You can use whatever color you want. If you want to use gold, I just thought the red would really pop on here. All right, I seem to like to use red because I have a lot of red almost gone. All right, so that is our shaker card. I hope you like that. That's fun. Fun little step card. Quick, and it's really not too hard to do, is it? Once you know the measurements and you cut your pieces, it's really not bad. You don't have to do a whole lot to assemble this when you have these little shaker domes. All right, we're gonna move that off. And let me just show you how many times I've made this card because my video stopped or something happened. Yeah, I've made a lot of them. So, guess people are going to be getting those for Christmas. All right, let's get on. And before everything stops again, I'm going to clean my stamps really quick. And then we're going to make our hot cocoa card. So this will be a nice, quick and easy one. Got to clean my stamps from before. Let's see. So I just have my chamois here. And I had a lot of pretty peacock on there, so I just want to make sure I get it off because my next project I don't want pretty peacock on it. All right, and one last one to clean. All right, there we go. And I'm going to try to move my camera up a little bit. It seems like okay, so let's get to our second project here, and I'm just going to get my bits and pieces ready. Okay, so we're going to be making our little hot cocoa packet here. So grab out your candy canes from your little goodie bag. And if you have a hot cocoa packet, grab that too because you'll need that. And we're going to assemble our cute little hot cocoa holder with our Stay Warm stamp set. So I'm just going to move some of these things that we used for our last project out of the way. We'll need our baker's twine. We will need our pretty peacock stamp pad. We'll need our Versamark stamp pad, and we'll need our white embossing powder. So just a moment while I get these things out of the way. We're going to be using our 'Tis the Season from our Pine Tree Trimmings stamp set. So this is the one we'll be using here. And then we'll be using all the little the sweater and the mittens and the hat from our Stay Warm stamp set. Okay, I think we're just about ready here. I don't need my cutting blades, so we can move those out of the way. All right, so I'm going to first start with our thick basic white cardstock. So this is in your packet of cardstock. So go ahead and pull that out. We need several pieces of our designer series paper. Now I'm going to tell you in the tutorial I originally sent, the directions for your cutting were incorrect. So I'll be sending that out again so that you have the correct directions for this one. So the pieces that you'll need is a pattern 1. You'll need a piece that is 4 1/4 by 3 inches. You'll need a piece that is 4 1/4 by 1 inch. And then in a second pattern, you will need a 4 1/4 by 1 inch. So those are the 3 pieces of designer series paper that you will need. We'll move this off to the side. You need a scrap piece of white. This is going to be for your sweater, hat, and mittens. And then you need, excuse me, another little piece of white that you have left over from your kit, about 1 inch. So we're going to just cut this down to be 1 inch. This is where our sentiment is going to go. So it's 1 inches by 2 inches. And you'll be trimming that down a little bit. So if it's not exactly 2 inches, you're okay. You'll also need a piece of Lost Lagoon cardstock and Pretty Peacock. This is what we're going to be stamping our sweater on, and our hat and mittens will be going on our Pretty Peacock. All right, so I've got 2 scraps here. All right, so next thing is I've already cut down my thick white cardstock, and this measures 4 1/2 by 8 1/2. We are going to score it on the 8 1/2 inch side. I'm going to bring on my scoring tool here, move these out of the way. So here's my scoring tool, and we'll be cutting this at, or not cutting, scoring this at 4 1/4 and 7 1/2. All right, that's all the scoring that we need to do. So move that aside. And I'm going to go ahead and burnish these score lines here. Make sure they have a nice crease. So this one will go this way and this way. All right. So you're going to have a little pocket here. All right. Next step we're going to do is we're going to take our designer series paper and we're going to adhere it onto our base. So let me get our Seal Plus here. This first piece is going to go right on this 1-inch flap, and it is as wide as that flap is. Oop. Mine's a little bit longer. That's okay. It's going to be covering the other part, so if it's a little longer, don't worry about it. And our other piece of 1-inch paper. We'll go at this top part here. And just center that. Oh. All right. Now with our other piece of 4 1/4 by 3 inch, we're going to put that on this flap. All right. So here's how you have your first two. I'm going to fold that up, and this is where the other part's going to go. So get this on there. So, and we're going to be folding that down just like that, all right? We can actually go ahead and adhere that down. Now, our next step is to form our little pocket, and the way that I'm going to do that is by adding some tear and tape in here to keep that sealed. I want to use tear and tape because I really want a strong adhesive there, so I don't have to worry about it falling apart or opening up. So I just need to get out my tear and tape. And I like the tear and tape because, like I said, it's a strong adhesive, but it's narrow. So I know that it will fit things inside that little pocket. Just like that. Okay. We're going to tear off that backing. I'm going to take a pick tool here. Now you only want it on the two sides. You don't want to put it there. Otherwise, you're going to seal your pocket closed and you won't be able to do anything with it. All right, so we'll fold this up and give it a press. There we go, just like that. Okay, now I'm going to take this, and this thick white is pretty stiff. So I'm going to kind of squeeze this open a little bit. All right. Put my hand in there. I want to make sure that stays sealed. I do want to just put my fingers in there, just kind of open it up a little bit. And then I'm going to shake my cocoa here. Since this is a tip for your cocoa. Get the cocoa to the top of your packet. All right. And then you can slide this in. Like so. Right? And then you can put your candy cane in. It's a little snug, but you can get it in there, like so. All right. We're going to be tying a piece of baker's twine around the front to kind of give it a little finish. So I'm going to leave my hot cocoa packet in there while I do that. And let's go ahead. I'm just trying to find my little sample here. I wanted to see if I did it 2 times or 1 time. I don't remember. All right. So I'm leaving a little tail there. And I'm going to go ahead and go twice. 1, 2. We'll trim that down. And I'll come over here and tie a little bow just off to my side. Now, when I'm using baker's twine, sometimes it's hard for me to hold that knot in place. So I'm just going to go ahead and make a knot. That way I know it's snug. And it's just easier for me to tie a bow. Do, 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 do. And you can make noises while you tie your bow. All right, and so let's just make our bow a little smaller here. All right, so there we go. I'm gonna put this aside, and we are going to start with our little images here. All right, so I've got my 2 pieces of scrap cardstock here, and I'm going to grab my embossing buddy, if I can find where I put it. Do you ever have that happen where everything you just put off to the side and you keep putting it off, and then all of a sudden you're like, what did I do with it? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just put my stuff right here. What this does is it prevents the static electricity from building up on your cardstock, and it stops the embossing powder from getting all over the place. All right, I'm going to bring in a scrap piece of paper here because I do not like the gritty feeling when I get embossing powder on my desktop here. All right, then we're going to grab our Versamark stamp pad and our little sweater here. Now, if you don't have a Versamark pad or embossing powder, go ahead and stamp Pretty Peacock on your Lost Lagoon cardstock, and you can cut out that. All right, so I'm going to stamp this first. I'm going to pull in my embossing powder. We'll get that set. All right, so grab our embossing powder here. And then just tapping it off a little bit. Don't worry about this little bit of extra. You can take a brush and brush it off. We're going to be trimming that out, so if there's a little bit of excess, it's not a big deal. All right, so let's get our next piece, and then we can do all our embossing at one time. So I'm going to be stamping my mittens and my hat, and I'm going to be using my Versamark. I'm going to move these just a little closer together. I'm leaving enough room so I can get in there to trim these apart, but I'm not wasting a whole lot of my cardstock. All right, let's just see where, oh, it'll fit right there, just where I didn't put my embossing buddy. Oh, well. All right, again, put your powder on there. And tap it off. All right, so you can see I added that little static there. I'm going to go ahead and just restamp in the area where I did put my embossing buddy, just because I don't want to have that. I want to have a nice crisp image. So I'll put this in my there. See how much, see the difference of using the embossing buddy versus not using it? You get some extra powder where you don't want it. So if you don't have an embossing buddy, use a dryer sheet. That'll work too. All right, let's close our embossing powder so we don't blow it all over the place. All right. And we're going to pull in our embossing gun. I'm going to do this off camera just because it's kind of hard to do on camera. So I'll try to do it a little bit. But what you're going to do is you're going to heat this up. I'm doing it from the bottom so my embossing powder doesn't fly all over. I'm just going from when that goes to a powder to it goes shiny. So I'm just letting the heat get going. I typically will warm my gun up before I get ready to emboss. But now you can see some of that. I'm hoping you can see that change. And just make sure you've got it all melted. So I'm just going to move this back so I can finish and make sure I got it all. All right. I do like to set this down to cool for a little bit before I do anything, because if you touch it while it's still warm, it'll smear all that. So just be aware of that. I know, slow part. I might as well do this other side here too. Since I've already got the powder on it, I'm sure I can find some use for it. All right, there we go. And we're going to fussy cut these out. Now again, if you don't have the Versamark or embossing powder, take your little sweater here, stamp it. I like to flip it this way because it'll fit better. I can fit 2 of them on there. Stamp your sweater, and then stamp your hat and mittens and pretty peacock. And then fussy cut those out. All right. So I am going to stick with my white here. I'm going to get these cut out. I'm cutting right up to that embossed edge. I'm going to take my time. Remember, your paper is what's flexible. Your scissors are not. So just take your time, getting as close as you can. And if you like a little border, you can leave a little border. So we got our little sleeves cut out here. Cut this away here. Doop. We have one thing left to stamp, and that's going to be our little sentiment. But I'll get that done right after I do these. All right. That piece off to the side. Let's get our... I do like to trim away the excess paper. It makes it easier when I'm fussy cutting. And this one, it's kind of hard to get next to the embossing line. I'm getting as close as I can, but that pom-pom is a little challenging to do. All right, like I said, take your time with cutting it. I know some people don't like to fussy cut, but you know, it's really not bad. After you do it for a while, you start to get used to it. But if you're not a fussy cutting person, then you'll want to definitely have a die cut machine so that you can die cut things. Unfortunately, this set does not have dies with it. But again, it's not that bad to cut this out. It's not like really intricate, so it's doable. But hey, when there's a punch or a die set that matches stamp set, I have to have it. And sometimes if I'm making one single card, then, you know, I'll fussy cut my image out. However, if I'm doing multiple of the same card, having those dies and punches is just a blessing, really, because you can get it done much faster. All right. Okay, there we go. I wish we still had the Stamparatus, because that made die cutting and mass assembly so much easier. All right, so there we go. Okay, let's bring in our project here. We're going to be taking dimensionals and putting this on our images here. So I'm going to take some of these long strips from my dimensional sheet here, and I'm going to use those for the arms. All right, just like that. They fit just nicely on the width of that arm there. All right. And I might as well just keep using my pieces here. So we'll go ahead and use that right here at the top. And get a piece at the bottom here. I just want to make sure that my sweater is fully supported. I'm going to grab a little piece for my... So this one I'm using quite a bit on, but I'm using my scraps, so I don't feel so bad. I'll put this one over here and use that later. All right, so I've got all my little scraps. I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of these done. All right, I'm going to grab my little mini dimensionals here just because it's easier. Oh, no, I'm going to use a whole dimension on here. I forgot. With the mittens, before I actually do anything else with my dimensionals, I'm bringing in my baker's twine here. I'm going to add some seal right to the back of my midi. And I am going to put my baker's twine right on that seal there. And I'm just going to cut off a piece here. So I got that. I'm going to make a little loop, and then I'll put the other one on. Oh, you know, yeah. Okay. Well, okay, that didn't work when I picked it up. All right, let's pull out our backings. I'm kind of mumbling, and I do apologize. I don't mean to mumble. And I don't know, there it is. Looking for my take-a-pick tool here so I can pick all these pieces up easier. And I think the mitten just stuck to my thumb, my pinky. You know, one of those digits you have on your hand. All right, let's get this lifted too. All right. Now I'm going to come back. I am going to put a dimensional on each one of my mittens, and I want to do it so it's over that baker's twine. So between the seal and the dimensional, that's going to hold that baker's twine in place. All right, just like that. We're going to get our little 1-inch strip as soon as I can find it. And we're going to stamp on that. Here it is. So I'm going to grab 'Tis the Season. We're going to use our peacock ink. And I'm going to stamp it right over here. I'm going to be tucking this left side in behind my sweater. And over on the right side, I'm just going to go ahead and make a little point. And it doesn't have to be perfect. All right. So what I like to do is I'm actually going to take some seal here, put it behind my tag, put my tag right. Now this can fit in an envelope, however, it's kind of bulky for an envelope, so I don't recommend it going to the mail. So I'm just going to put this, I'm going to slide my ribbon down a little bit, and I'm going to put this right here, so my tip meets that point where I had that fold. Then I'm going to take my sweater, and we're going to just angle it this way, make sure I don't catch my baker's twine here. So I've got my sweater here, I've got my little hat here, and now let's take our little mittens. We're almost done with this project. Can you believe how fast this one went together? And I'm just going to do a little loop here. So I'm just going to cross them behind each other to make that loop. And then I'm just going to, oh, I don't want them to go that direction. I want them to go this direction. All right. So I'm just going to put those right on the front of my sweater. Here's my little loop. And there we go. So now all we have to do is put in our candy cane and give it to someone that would appreciate it. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's classes, our little Christmas tree shaker. and our hot cocoa holder. Join me again tomorrow. We'll be having another 2 projects, and then Saturday we'll have our final 3. So thanks for joining me. I hope you're enjoying the October Christmas craft along. Again, you can get the full package, which includes all the papers and embellishments and everything that you need to make your projects, and that 38-page tutorial. If you're looking for just the tutorial, you can get it for free with a purchase in my online store, or you can order it. So just go ahead and look in the description of the video. All the information is there. And don't forget, today is still free shipping from Stamping Up. So when you place a $50 order, you can get 2 tutorials from me. If you place a $75 order, you get 2 tutorials and free shipping from Stamping Up. If your order is $100, I'm going to go ahead and throw in either 10 handmade cards or 20 sheets of 6x6 paper. I'll reach out to you to find out which your preference is. And if your order is $125, stop before you hit submit. You may want to think about purchasing the starter kit. It's $35. You don't have to spend $125. It's $35, and you get free shipping, but you do get $125 of free product. What an amazing deal. So just think about it. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me at any time. Okay, not in the middle of the night. I probably won't respond. But yeah, we'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.